Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to AFC Game by Game. Doing another Google Hangout. I think they're much needed at the moment, given the way things are going with Arsenal Football Club. And I'm joined with Danny once again. We're going to be discussing last night's humiliation against Swansea and the upcoming North London derby on Saturday. Absolutely massive. Massive. Got a bit of cornflake cake stuck in my throat. Danny, you were at the game last night, as was I. We were just speaking before going on air, the reaction from the Arsenal fans after the game and during the game as well. I mean, we're both feeling very down about that, as is any Arsenal fan. But,
yeah,
I mean, just some of your emotions following last night.
Surprised, but I shouldn't be surprised. In all honesty, I shouldn't be surprised. And if you watch our previous two Hangouts, I mean, they've got worse as we've gone along because, you know, the results have got worse. But going back to the Hangout preview in Barcelona, all the stuff we were fearing could go wrong has. And I'm not being funny, it's taken me, you, DT and Jan also featuring Hangouts. If four normal football supporters, as far as I'm concerned with you and DT and Jan, none of us have, you know, licensed training manuals or, you know, certificates, whatnot. You can just see it happening. It's coming from a mile off. And it's frustrating because it's the same old thing. I mean, last night was really surprising. I mean, I thought the ground. I was at North Bank last night, which is, you know, the atmosphere is deemed to be a lot better there. And last night, I mean, at 1-1, the crowd were getting behind the team more than what we've done in recent years. And I noticed that for the Leicester game as well. But at full time last night, I've never seen anything like it. My dad said the same thing. He's been following Arsenal now for over 40 years. He said the only occasion he's ever seen like last night was when Man United beat us 6-2 in the Rumbelows Cup in the very early 90s. He said other than that, he's never seen a manager and a team booed like they were. I've never ever known a sub. That's the loudest boos from a sub I've heard since Fabregas come on last year.
You got to remember Chamberlain going off for, I can't remember who came, Arshavin, when we lost 2-1 to United. Ironically, Danny Welbeck getting the goal.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
Exactly the same.
But the thing is, you know, I mean, you had the boos for Giroud against Chelsea. They weren't that loud, but it's no coincidence. It's a pattern happening now. More and more people are starting to disagree with this manager. And at full time, it was heartbreaking what I saw, but I don't resent the people that did it. I saw people on chairs going out of their way, standing on the top of their seats, holding people to keep them upright as top as they could be. When Bellerin, Mertesacker, and there was one or two other players come over, the usuals that come over and clap, no one was clapping. People was going, fuck off you wankers, this, that, abusing them. And I was thinking to myself, like, you don't want to see that, but it's come to that. And mate, I don't know how this can keep happening year after year. We were absolutely walking this league, walking the league. And it comes to crunch time, and I wouldn't mind it, but Leicester drew. You know, we go into the game. I won't mention the Tottenham result because we didn't know what the Tottenham result was until our result finished. But we go into the game knowing that we're chasing Leicester, and Leicester go and draw. I mean, I said on Sunday it was game over, but a lot of people were still saying, you know, we can chase Leicester and Tottenham. But surely now, I mean, it's not even about people saying there's 30 points to play for. It's not about the points to play for. It's about the psychological effects it's had.
No, there are. I get a lot of people on the videos that I upload to Arsenal Fan TV. I get a lot of comments saying, "Oh, you know, 30 points to play for. We can do it." And I think, with all due respect, this comes from a relatively new type of fan to the game, because we all know, like, if you follow Arsenal for over a decade, you know exactly what happens from here on in until the rest of the season. Yeah. And the worst part about this current situation that we're in is that last season, the team that finished
further ahead
was further ahead in terms of points. And then as well as that, season before that, further ahead in terms of points. I mean, it is a joke that we are in this...
Like, we're getting worse per year.
We're getting worse. And I don't get it as well, because isn't this squad meant to be better? Like, we've got better...
Do you know what? End of the day, this all, I mentioned this on your Hangout after Man United. It all comes down to square one, not investing correctly. The people at this club, and you know what, a few of the people whom my dad and some of his friends, you got to bear in mind, they're 30, 40 years older than what we are. They're coming out the ground last night, and they're people that have followed Arsenal home, away, all across Europe. I don't mean Champions League. I mean when we're in the Cup Winners' Cup, going to drab places, um, following Arsenal. But before, like you mentioned, before this new modern fan come around, I mean, technically, I know it sounds hypocritical. We're only 17, 18, 19, around that sort of age. So we could be deemed the modern fan, but we know what it's like because we've had, dads, granddads, uncles that have been going long, long before that. And the frustrating thing, the way I see it, is that there's people that have just come into this, whole new modern sort of fan, if you like, modern
Okay,
sort of
just
game,
just
I should
on
say.
just on this argument, let's look at it realistically for a second because we haven't been in a position for a while now where we've been 6 points off top. So
Yeah.
in hindsight, we are actually still in not a very good position, but a good position in terms of still being able to do something with the points that are available. So in defence of the people that are coming out and saying that, trying to put a positive light on things, I mean, do you see any way that this Arsenal team can buck up their ideas? Because Leicester will drop points and
Yeah,
Spurs are
no,
more
I
than
agree
capable of
with
dropping
you.
points. But the worrying thing is
Same.
we're
Excuse
more
me,
than
I'm going off,
capable
by
of
the way.
no worries at all. We're more than capable of dropping points than more points than Leicester and Spurs put together, which is more than worrying. And I think even if we were offered it on a silver platter, this team wouldn't have the bottle to go and reach out and take it. It's a mentality problem more than it is
Yeah,
a
it
picking
is.
up
It
points
is.
problem. The
Well,
football last night was appalling.
oh,
Like
it's
that is
drab.
some of the worst football I've seen from Arsenal. In that second half, the number of times we gave the ball away, Ramsey in midfield, he cannot find a man.
It's
Mertesacker
depressing,
is
mate.
garbage. Like I've defended Mertesacker a lot this season, but last night,
Yeah,
like just there was one moment when he passed it to Gomez. He passed it to
yeah.
him. You're a professional footballer,
Well,
over 30 years old, a World Cup winner, and you're passing it to their
yeah.
striker. Abysmal defending from Per Mertesacker. Gabriel, I mean, you could criticise him last night, but he really wasn't helped by his counterpart in that game.
No, he wasn't.
And
I think what let us down last night, especially, no everything, no fight, no hunger, no desire. I mean, I watched somebody on Arsenal fan TV, and they said, Walcott's been at the club 10 years. Why doesn't he want this? And I've said this before, and very simply, Walcott has been in the last 10 years of Arsenal mentality. That mentality hasn't been a winning mentality. That mentality has been about making money. He represents it to a T. The last 10 years, that board moved to the ground, right? And if you look at our financial position, it was one of the best things that we did because it really helped the club out. However, you know, it doesn't go to help. We've got extra revenue to work with now, but at the same time, there's extra revenue, there's extra resources. But rather than investing it like we were promised 10 years ago, instead, it's going one place in their pockets. I don't think it's right. I think they get away with absolute murder at the club. Um, and people finally had enough. Unfortunately, it's got to the point now where a lot of people last night. I mean, I've said there's been standout occasions when people have turned against the manager. One being the League Cup final against Birmingham. Another being Liverpool 5-1. Another one of those was Chelsea 6-0, Man United 8-2, Spurs to mine. There are a lot of times where a lot of the people said, okay, that's the final straw off the camel's back sort of thing. But, last night was just a turning point. It was just the sort of situation that we've seen and we've been in too many times. A lot of people have had enough. I've had enough for a while now, so I can't really be surprised and shocked. But at the end of the day, going back to square one is Swansea at home.
yeah, it's a team that we should really be quite comfortably beating, which is the most annoying part about this. It is Swansea, albeit they were more than deserved winners last night, but
Yeah, they were.
it's Swansea at home. It's Swansea at home, 16th place
Well, you
Swansea.
know what? I look at that. I think in the second half, Yeah, we hit the bar through Alexis's free kick, and also, we had the great ball that Ozil whipped in where Sanchez misses it by about an inch. But other than that, I look at the other chances. Swansea's two chances that second half, with the exception of their goal, the chance, I'm not sure it was, he rounded the keeper and put it wide. And there was another opportunity where I don't think who it was, whipped it, because I was at the other end of the ground, he whipped it across goal, and I think it was Ayew was at the back post, missed it by an inch. Swansea had the two better out of the main chances in the second half. Swansea come closest on the two occasions, and that's not even including their goal. You know what
And
I mean?
let's not forget that when we did go 2-1 down with 15 minutes to go,
No desire at all.
nothing at all from the team. And the fact of the matter is, albeit we have been playing trash football, more than capable of scoring 2 goals against the lackluster Swansea side. I mean, I hadn't even heard of their number 35 that they had in the back line as well. So that's not to
Well, they made
discredit them.
six changes, didn't they? They
Yeah, they
made
made
six
an
changes.
incredibly threadbare team that they've got, and they didn't even start Gilfrey Sigurdsson. So we should have won that game. It's unforgivable that we haven't, and we go into a game now where we could get absolutely rattled. The thing that you mentioned about a turning point last night, I think I'll come out. I tweeted after the game that I personally felt that Wenger should go at the end of the season because it's tarnishing his legacy as it goes. And I mean, people already say that it has been tarnished, but for me, this would be the nail in the coffin in terms of ruining everything good that he's done at the club, because this is just, yeah.
I think the nail in the coffin, and this is speaking from somebody who's been Wenger out since we lost to Birmingham in the League Cup final. So what, 5 years now? I think, and this isn't me defending Wenger, the final nail in the coffin is the moment that we mathematically can't win this league. Because I don't think we're going to win it, and I think it's all over. But for those people out there who are going to argue, we're still in with a chance, and fair enough, I respect your argument because on paper we are. For those people, the moment we mathematically can't win this league, there is, if somebody could give me one justifiable reason as to why Arsene Wenger should still be the Arsenal manager, I would look forward to hearing it. Now, I don't want to hear about the past. I really don't. Because with the greatest respect, Roberto Di Matteo won the Champions League. What's he doing now? Roberto Mancini won the Premier League. What's he doing now?
You talk about that though, but this losers mentality, well, not losers, but underachieving mentality that's driving throughout this Arsenal squad at the moment. A lot of people would assume that's coming from the manager, myself included. But Wenger is a guy that's gone unbeaten with a team of absolute world-class players. Surely he's a winner. And I don't get that winner's mentality when he's bringing off Joel Campbell, our best player last night, and then later goes on to bring on Theo Walcott, who's been crap for us over the past couple of months. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. That's not a winner's mentality. That's a...
Well, do you know what? It comes down to one of the things as well. He's stubborn. It's got to all be his way. The man, believe it or not, he's a very intelligent man. He sussed on to the Spanish style of football. I wouldn't say tiki-taka, because that's more Barcelona, but the Spain 08-10 World Cup and 2012 European Championship, that style of football, Arsene Wenger clocked that in around 2006. And he proved that by changing his philosophy from big physical players, because it sort of changed from the French 98 World Cup 2000 European Championship winning team. They were big, physical, powerful players, right? Then football started changing around the mid 2000s. And Arsene Wenger, to be credit to him, saw it very early. And that's why he went from building a team around Patrick Vieira, who epitomised the big, powerful player, to building it around Cesc Fabregas, who was the small, the small, technically gifted player. However, you still need powerful players around that sort of player or that sort of team, right? Spain had them. If you look at Barcelona, the prime example is Rakitic. They've still got those, and even Busquets. They've still got them big, physical, powerful players. And Arsene Wenger spotted that before Spain even emulated it at the European Championship in 2008. Then Spain emulated it for a 4-year period from 2008 to 2012. Then they got sussed out. Arsenal have been doing it from 2006 to 2000 and 2000 and what is it, 2016 now, and we still haven't been found out. And one of the annoying things about it is, it's just an absolute letdown. The joke. Hang on, excuse me, 2 seconds. Hang on, Mum, 2 seconds. Okay, apologies for that. I forgot to shut the door. But yeah, at the end of the day, for 10 years now, we've still been doing it. We've been sussed out. At first, we got sussed out very early by the big teams. Now, especially in the last 3 or 4 years, that the so-called lesser teams are sussing us out, and that is proven for the fact that Swansea have now taken 10 out of a possible 12 points at the Emirates in the last 4 visits. That's no coincidence.
That's embarrassing. That's absolutely embarrassing.
It's no coincidence.
Albeit Swansea have been very good under Gary Monk and previous managers over the past couple of years. To lose that many times to Swansea, I mean, I can't remember beating them at home, apart from when it was in the FA Cup.
They've had 3 wins from 3 different managers, if I'm not mistaken.
Pathetic. Yeah. I don't feel confident going home now. I don't feel confident at all. I mean, I'll tell you, it is so depressing going to an Arsenal game like yesterday, getting home about 11:15 or whatever, and then having to talk about it. It's one of the most depressing things that I have to do. And yeah, I don't mind doing it like this because this is more of a discussion than it is having to give a reactionary opinion on it. But it's difficult talking about it quite a lot. I mean, I don't want to focus too much on yesterday because we've got a huge game on Saturday coming up and we've got to get what went wrong last night out of our minds as quickly as possible. But I don't think we can be glossed over so easily because there were so many individual poor performances. Once again, Olivier Giroud has gone 11.4 hours without a goal. I mean, what do you put that down to?
Everything that sums up the team. Lack of confidence, lack of drive, lack of hunger, lack of wanting to win. I put it down to, personally, I don't want to keep... Well, you've got to keep going back to it, the transfer window.
Sorry, you've got to. I think I haven't really spoken about it a lot yet, but I think last night summed it up for me when Petr Cech, our only signing from the summer, gets injured in a hamstring going up for a corner. It just epitomises how bad it's got, and that the only signing that we made in 2015 has just gone off injured. And he's a goalkeeper going off with a hamstring injury. How pathetic is that?
It just goes to show me, there's everybody, and I mean everybody here, pundits, supporters. I mean, I've got pals who support West Ham, who support Tottenham, who support Man United, who absolutely despise Arsenal. Absolutely despise us, just as much as I despise their teams, right? They said to me in the summer last year, if you sign a holding midfielder and if you sign a striker, you will walk the league. Now, how come normal people like you and I, once again, people who haven't got, UEFA licence badges in X, Y, and Z, people just go to support their respective club or watch them on telly, whatever suits them. How come these people can see that? But this so-called genius of a manager and this so-called business-minded, well-respected, if you like, board, not well-respected, that's the wrong term, well-viewed upon for what they can do financially. Why can't these people see it? That's what really frustrates me. It's not... I said this against Man United. I feel like I'm being mugged off now. And people then turn around and go, who might live abroad and don't get the opportunity to come over, they might go, why'd you keep going? Very simply, because, and you'll agree with me on this, as stupid as it sounds, it's an addiction and it's a passion. Very, very simply. And I feel like, and it's not just people of our age, because you have people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s even complaining about it. I feel like we're being taken for a joke and it's happening time after time again. Because what you got to bear in mind, how we feel right now is the exact same as how we felt 2 years ago. And it's the exact same as how we felt in 10-11 and the exact same in 09-10.
It's interesting you mentioned that. I do want to talk a little bit about the board, Kroenke, Gazidis, all their mob, because I remember a time not too long ago when it all came down to the board. I mean, I'm sure you remember the protests.
Yeah, I was about 14. I was in the protest.
Yeah, exactly. Chance of sacking the board every home game, pretty much. Black Scarf movement, all of that stuff. And we're edging on that happening again. People calling out the board. There's a guy yesterday at the game saying Kroenke out, and I think that even when we were playing good football last season, lifting FA Cups, I still think he's got to go because the guy's got nothing to do with the club apart from he gets financial gain out of it and occasionally puts a little bit back into the club. The only one that I think actually does a okay. I don't know if I feel okay saying I think Gazidis has done an all right job because I think he's done. I don't think he's done as badly as Kroenke has because I think Kroenke's the real problem. I think Gazidis has more of a passion for football for Arsenal than Kroenke does. I see, Gazidis goes to the meetings, he meets up with the fans occasionally, he pumps quite a bit of money into this club. I mean, I do have an ounce of respect for Gazidis, but not Kroenke. He's the one for me, the root problem.
Personally, I think you might disagree. I think they're all as bad as each other. Somebody's got to put a smile on their face. Funny enough, you say that about Gazidis meets the fans. Before the BSM raised their voice, I never knew one occasion where Gazidis met the fans. Not one. And
it's interesting.
The thing that annoys me is that, and I say this to everybody, as much as it pains me and hurts me, let's say me and you are running a business, right? Because that's how they see it. We're running a business, not a football club, just a general, business it is. If we're earning money, right, we're making good profit every single year, and we're taking a bit, we're pocketing it for ourselves, which at the end of the day, where it's their business, to a certain extent they have a right to, because they own it. As much as it pains me, they own it. They've got every right to do it. Now, they don't view that football club in the same way that me and you view the football club. So they've got every right and they have every reason in their mind and their eyes to take the money out. As much as it pains me, if me and you run a business, we would do the exact same thing. And unfortunately, that's how they see it. Where some people are thick, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter, won't name any names, saying, we could spend X amount, 200-300 million, we could end up like Man United, or end up like Chelsea, or end up like Man City, right? I think to myself, you spend the money wisely, because Man United have pissed away 200 million on overpriced one-season wonder players, right? You spend that money wisely. Arsenal didn't need to spend 200 million. They needed to spend around 60 million on a striker, and 28 million would have got you Arturo Vidal, who I think would have done the job.
I think the problem now is sorry to interrupt. I think we've got into a situation now where we're saying we need a defensive midfielder, we're saying we need a striker, but you look at this team and you think, how much further can it actually go? You've got to remember Monreal is coming up to 30. I think he already is 30 now, as it is.
Yeah,
you've got Per Mertesacker on the wrong age of 30. Gabriel not looking convincing. Koscielny's coming up to 30. We could find ourselves in a position where we need a striker, a defensive midfielder, and 2 new centre halves, and a left back. Yeah. Not too far away. I mean, this current squad, has to win the league, or it's not going to, purely because they're just getting away with age. So it is worrying on that front. But let's move on to the game on Saturday. Can't wait for it. Should be brilliant. Away at White Hart Lane. If I'm being honest with you, talking to my mate yesterday on the way out from the game, I think we're going to get rattled. I think we could get turned over. I think we really could get turned over, which is a worrying prospect. But I could see it going the way of, I'm not going to say Chelsea 6-0. I mean, I think it could just be 2-0 to Tottenham, but they just close us off. I think it could, given the way we're playing, given that we've got no fight, no desire, and Tottenham, I guarantee, will be more up for this game than our players will be, which is a disgraceful thing to say. But you've got to remember, they've got Dele Alli as well. He's not going to be on loads of money. Harry Kane, he's going to want to prove a point in this game. And they've got just players that, it pains me to say, they've got more fight in that team than this Arsenal 11 currently does. Look at that Ramsey incident last night. I don't know if you've seen the video of Ramsey chasing.
I did see it. It's a disgrace.
Shadowing
and the Mertesacker one for their first goal.
It's disgraceful.
That's what I meant. I mean, I don't want to. I want to, pass this behind us now. I'll move on to Tottenham. But the final thing I want to say on Swansea, that summed it up. That summed up my point entirely. When people say no fight, no hunger, no desire, that sums it up. Moving on to Saturday, I mean, I've got a ticket, and prior to all the results, I was thinking about this Tottenham game, excitement before Man United, before Barcelona, even before we played Barcelona. This was the one game I had on my mind. Now I'm a bit, it's a derby, but I'm now going into this game.
Well, no, it's not.
Yeah.
If Spurs had won last night and we'd have won, title clash, top four clash now. That's what it is. It's nothing else. Top four clash, because you look behind us, United embarrassingly have gotten to a point where they're 4 points behind. They're closer to us than we are to Leicester, which is humiliating, absolutely devastating given the way United have played this season. And then you got West Ham on our tails as well. It's laughable. It's absolutely laughable.
You know what? I mean, going into Saturday, I'm not sure if I said it on one of the two hangouts I've done previously, but I've said it to a couple of my mates. I said I could see a weird incident occurring prior to the Barcelona game. I said this, where I could see us not winning a single game between Barcelona and Tottenham, fucking it up basically, ruling ourselves out of it, and then winning at Tottenham when we didn't need to. I'm not sure if I said it on one of the hangouts, but I certainly said it to four people.
I still think, given the way we're playing and how threadbare the squad is at the moment with Cech and Koscielny, two of our most important players in defence, I just can't see it happening. I have very little expectation for the game against Spurs, and although it's a derby, anything can happen. I'd love to say we'd go into that game and we'd win, but I mean, what faith can I put in this squad to say they'll go out there and do it? Very little.
On Saturday, I mean, especially after the disgraceful performances, the last two performances we've seen, I expect every single player in a red shirt to be willing to die for the course on the pitch. That's what I expect.
All right, so on that
other mob will be the other mob will be. I don't want to say the name. They will be ready to die for Pochettino, and that's what lets us down.
That's the sad thing about it. All right, on that point, then, what would be your 11 going into the game?
Ospina, Bellerin, Gabriel, Chambers, because I don't want.
Are you sure you want to play them two, given how they played against Liverpool when they had their only chance together this season? I think if we're going to do it, Mertesacker and Chambers is the option.
Wasn't it Gabriel and Chambers against Leicester, or was it Mertesacker next to him?
No, it's Mertesacker.
Oh, all right, that being the case, I'll have Mertesacker and Chambers, Monreal, Coquelin. That's what I mean. It's where you need the holding midfielder. I don't want to say Ramsey because he's been crap. I don't want to see El Nene because he's not up to standard.
The thing is, with this guy, Ramsey's offering nothing to us.
Nothing at all.
Nothing at all. So I don't really see any harm in playing El Nene. And it's, I'm not going to say he's not up to the standard yet because we haven't seen enough of him to judge what standard he is at and what level he's at.
It'll be a controversial thing. And I'm not saying this, from the bottom of my heart, like wholeheartedly. I'd give Flamini a go Saturday because he knows what it means. He will give you more what you want to see in a derby. He might be crap for your average game at home like last night, but for a derby, especially at their place, he'll know exactly what it's about. He's been. I know he left, but he joined in 2004, so he knows what it's about. And if you know,
I know what you mean, but the thing with that
when
is,
he played for AC Milan, he clattered. I can't remember. I think it was Palacios. He knows he hates them, and you know what? We're at a point now where rather than the same saying insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, I'd take a gamble. I'd play Coquelin and Flamini. People might say it's too defensive, but we have Ramsey bombing up the field and leave Coquelin exposed. I'd play the two together. It's controversial. I know a lot of people are going to disagree. I understand that, but that's what I would do personally. I think that's.
I do see where you're coming from, and Flamini at the moment is by no means worse than what Ramsey's offering to us. I just think on the technical side of things, we're going to need someone who's able to be calm on the ball, someone who's composed. He's going to be able to look up, find another man, and just keep it tight in the midfield. And I would like to see El Nene start because I do think he can be that. If he's given the job, where he's not having to bomb forward, where he's not having to play a box-to-box midfield role, where he's sitting inside the centre circle, essentially, and just playing it safe, playing it to the wingers, not doing anything over-dramatic, just playing it into Ozil, letting the attackers speak for themselves. I think he can do an okay job there, a better job than Ramsey can do because he seems to have more flair about him at the moment. He seems to just be a better passer of the ball, more composed. And he's got nothing to lose as well, whereas the pressure is on Ramsey. And El Nene, if he has a bad game, then he only costs 5.4 million. So I don't think he'll be judged too harshly.
I think the thing that annoys me, and this is where I don't want to keep coming back to the whole manager thing, but this is where it comes back to the manager because me and you can sit here and say, "Oh, I'd play him instead of I'd drop Ramsey for him, I'd drop Walcott for him." At the end of the day, you can all but guarantee. Wenger showed bottle by dropping Walcott for Joel Campbell, and then he goes and makes the change the other night. I'm thinking, what are you doing? And you can all but guarantee that Ramsey's in that starting lineup on Saturday. I wouldn't drop Alexis because you need as much quality as possible. You can all but guarantee Giroud's in that lineup ahead of Welbeck, who I'd start up top. You know, it's all going to be us discussing this, but all the players are we saying, oh, he needs tweaks on his game, he needs this, he needs that. We've been saying it for a couple of months now, mate. We've been saying it since the turn of the new year. We've been saying it since the start of 2016. And the manager won't drop him. I will come on here on the next Hangout. Well, we'll do one anyway, but I will be shocked if Aaron Ramsey and Olivier Giroud are on the bench on Saturday. I would be absolutely shocked because the manager doesn't have no bottle to do it. He doesn't have the bottle and the character to do it.
You know what? I'm sick of talking about who needs dropping, who needs bringing in, because it's just like, how long has this gone on for that we've said, oh, he's not good enough, let's give this guy a chance? Shouldn't be like that. We should have a starting 11 that we know is the best 11. And we don't have that at all. Chelsea last season, the base of their success was on a Matic-Fabregas midfield partnership, albeit Matic has been pretty poor for them this season. They knew what their best 11 was. We kind of had that at the start of the season. Ramsey on the right-hand side, Cazorla in the middle with Coughlin. Injuries have plagued us. But now we're at a situation now where a lot of players have come back from their respective injuries. Sanchez, Welbeck. And we're playing awful football. I mean, our best player at the moment is Danny Welbeck. And that speaks absolute volumes that he's got more passion in his left leg than, you know, some of these players do. And the guy's not even
funny. He's a Mancunian. He's a Mancunian.
Exactly.
He's a Man United fan.
It's ridiculous.
But it doesn't necessarily mean what it's down to. It's about mentality.
He's got a winner's mentality, surely.
Exactly. He come through the ranks at Man United when Ferguson was there, when they were winning leagues after leagues after leagues. You know, that is the difference. It's all down to mentality.
I feel bad for the guy, to be honest. I feel bad for Welbeck that he's kind of like come back into the squad looking. You know, he's probably come back into this Arsenal team, gets that goal against Leicester and thinks, right, this is it. We're going to do it. And then Sunday happens, last night happens, and the inevitable is probably going to happen on Saturday. And it's just, it's embarrassing. It's sad. It's depressing at the end of the day. It can't be any good for our health watching this every week.
The thing is, I mean, I said prior to, I said this on the first Hangout, we need 7 out of 9 points from our league games. The maximum we can get is 3. When I said 7 out of 9, ideally, I thought win at Man United, win at Swansea I'm, and I'll take a point at Tottenham. I was going into it thinking, I'll take a point at Tottenham. Now, Tottenham is a must-win game. Must win. Forget the league for a moment, just to restore a bit of pride. Because I'm not being funny, I don't want 2 years in a row where we don't beat them. You know, I've never known that I don't think it would have happened in my lifetime if we go 4 league games without winning them. Okay, yeah, the League Cup was great. It was a fun night out down there. We had a good time. But I don't think I've known a scenario in my life where we'd have gone 4 league games without victory against them. And I don't want to be muggy as an Arsenal fan here, but every self-respecting Spurs fan deep down knows, especially in the last 25 years, because the 80s it was a bit up and down in terms of league positions. In the last 25 years, I think they've come above us twice. Don't hold me to that. Twice or 3 times, very maximum. So any self-respecting Spurs fan would know for a fact that Arsenal are bigger fact, but tend to be a better club. Now, to go into Saturday, in a position where that could all change is extremely worrying, because I think in previous years we've played them, we've beat them, always been beaten, but we've turned it around because we've had 13, 14 games to do so. After Saturday, 9 games, they win, bye-bye. Forget the league, it's finishing behind them will be gone, and then you could potentially be coming into Saturday lunchtime, Sunday evening, 1 point clear of the top 4, and then questions will be really asked.
Oh man, imagine if we finish outside the top 4 and finish below Spurs, that'd be horrible. On a final quick note, what's your What's your score prediction into the game?
Heart 2-1 Arsenal. Head 2-1 Tottenham. At the lane, it's always a 2-1. It's going to be my head saying 2-1 Tottenham. My heart is saying 2-1 Arsenal. I hope I am wrong. I wouldn't put it beyond Arsenal to go out there and win 3 or 4-0 and play
Got the
like
quality to do
Man
it.
United at home. Yeah, but we said this going into Man United away. We said, we should go there, do this, do that. Swansea at home, we should have done this, done that. We didn't. So I don't see why there'd be a change for Tottenham, because in previous years we don't get up for the derby. So I don't know. I really don't know, mate. I'm going to go for 2-1 either way.
You just got to hope someone in the back room is just drumming it into them that this is the North London derby. And yeah, I completely agree. We forget the league title for a minute. Let's just restore some pride at Arsenal, and who knows what can happen from there on in. And that's when I'll start saying that potentially the league is back on. But that all is dependent on Saturday. Biggest North London derby in, I think, over 25 years.
Years,
so
mate. Biggest one since probably the 93 FA Cup semi-final.
It's huge. It's absolutely huge. And I'm hoping tomorrow goes really, 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 really slowly, because I'm not looking forward to it in the slightest. And the fact it's a 12:45 kickoff just has the potential to ruin my weekend. So no pressure on Arsenal whatsoever. So my personal score prediction, I think I won't give you my realistic prediction. I'll give you my optimistic prediction. That's 2-0 to Arsenal. Who knows what could happen. But anyway, Danny, thanks for coming on once again. It's been a pleasure having you on.
Thank you.
Thanks to everyone that's tuned in tonight. Fantastic viewer numbers as always. And we'll be sure to get another one of these up after
the derby.
Hopefully we'll be
on that face.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have something a bit more positive to talk about. And let's just forget the league for a minute. Let's just go out there and get a win on Saturday at the Lane. That would be a fantastic result for us, irrespective of what's going on around us. But anyway, please do drop a like on this video, whether you're watching it live or watching it later. Please do subscribe to the channel. My thanks to Danny once again. And as always, speaking to you very soon.